So why are xylem and phloem called complex tissue? So these xylem and phloem, they are known as complex tissue because if you observe here, they are made up of more than one types of cell. So this part is xylem and this part is phloem. Now, if you see the structure of a tissue here, the cells are of different types. They differ in the size and structure. So if the tissue is made up of more than one type of cell, we call them as complex tissue. So complex tissue consists of cells which are made up of more than one type. So the function of xylem is it helps in conduction of water and minerals. So from the roots, absorb water and minerals from the soil, and from the roots the water and minerals are transported to other parts like leaves and stem, and this conduction is done by the help of xylem. And it also provides mechanical support. Since xylem contains most of the dead cells, so it helps in providing the mechanical support to the plant. Now we call them as a complex tissue. So that means it is made up of more than one cell type. So here the different cell types are xylem vessels, tracheids, parenchyma and fiber. So here you can see these are the tracheids, xylem vessels, parenchyma and fiber. So in a xylem tissue, 4 different types of cells will be present. Now let us learn what are the characteristics of these cells. Tracheids. So students, here these are the tracheids. Now if you observe tracheids, they are long, elongated, they are cylindrical, but the ends are tapered. That means they are joint. So they have got a sharp end. So this sharp end is called as tapering ends. Whereas vessels, they are also long, elongated, but the ends are open. So the ends will be open. So this is the difference between tracheids and vessels. So both are long, elongated. Tracheids have got a tapering end, whereas vessels, they have got an open end. So they have got cylindrical structure, and each tracheids and vessels, they have cell wall which is made up of lignin. So hence they help in providing the mechanical support. And as I told, tracheids are dead cells. So if you observe this lumen, the cavity, the cytoplasm and nucleus both are absent. Here we can find an empty cavity. So this is called as lumen. So if the lumen is empty, they are called as dead cells. So cytoplasm and nucleus together, they are called protoplasm. So both tracheids and vessels, they lack protoplasm. The next type of cell is xylem fiber. So these are nothing but the sclerenchyma cells. They are also the dead cells, and they have a thick cell wall made up of lignin. So their main function is to provide mechanical support to the plant body. So this last structure is fibers. So these are xylem fibers. Coming to the xylem parenchyma. So now these cells, they are called xylem parenchyma. So these are the only living cells in the xylem tissue. So only living cells, that means they have got both cytoplasm and nucleus. So it is a type of a parenchyma cells. So here this food is stored. So it helps in the storage of the food, and it also helps in the radial conduction of water. That is from one cell to the next cell. And similarly, we call phloem also as a complex tissue. So even phloem is made up of 4 different types of cells. So one is sieve element, companion cells, parenchyma and fiber. But here only phloem fibers are the dead cells. So the remaining 3 are living cells. So you can observe here the cells which have got sieve plate is nothing but the sieve tube, and next to the sieve tube there is a companion cell. So this is the companion cells, and in between we have parenchyma cells and the fibers, the elongated cells are fibers. Now let's learn what is the function of sieve tube elements. So these are the sieve tube elements. So next to the sieve tube, so this structure is nothing but the companion cells. So both sieve tube and companion cells, they are present next to one another. So the sieve tube elements are elongated structures and they also have companion cells along with it. Now these sieve tube elements, they have only cytoplasm, nucleus is absent. So the companion cells which is present next to it helps in maintaining the function of sieve tube elements. And lastly, the parenchyma and fibrous cells. So phloem parenchyma are nothing but the normal parenchyma cells. They're living cells. They help in storage of food. They are rich with cytoplasm. Whereas phloem fibers, these are the only dead cells. They are sclerenchyma cells. They have got a thick cell wall made up of lignin and it helps in providing support to the complex tissue. Since xylem and phloem both are made up of more than one type of cells in the tissue, so they are called as complex tissue.